the 172nd anniversary of the war behind the invasion of Ukraine, which began on the orders of Russian President Putin. The first months of the war were spent in a defensive position from the point of view of Ukraine. Later, equipment and weapons support from its allies, and especially from the United States, helped Ukraine change its war tactics. After the Ukrainian armed forces established a great superiority over the Russian army, developments began to accelerate every day. In the first months, we were faced with sad news. The Russian army was carrying out attacks on the territory of Ukraine and occupying and capturing settlements. Now, however, the course of the war has reversed and Ukraine has begun to regain many of the settlements it has lost. The biggest reason for this was thanks to the perseverance of the heroic Ukrainian soldiers and their brave leader Zelensky. In addition, Bayraktar unmanned aerial vehicles from Turkey have caused it to establish a great superiority in the region. Bayraktar requested TB2S from Turkey in Russia. However, the Turkish Defense Ministry responded negatively to this. Bayraktar TB2S have announced their power to the whole world with the Russian war in Ukraine. On the other hand, American HIMARS provided great support to the Bayraktars carrying out operations from the air. HIMARS missile systems almost dominated the territory of Ukraine. Many Russian ammunition depots and Russian positions were destroyed with HIMARS. The Russian commanders began to shy away from the HIMARS missiles and turned their tactics in that direction. All Russian soldiers and Russian missiles have almost targeted HIMARS systems, otherwise HIMARS will not allow the Russians to raise their heads. But the HIMARS, which are the pupils of the Ukrainian army, are well protected by the armed forces of Ukraine. Thanks to its long range and easy maneuverability, it can bomb Russians from within the Ukrainian army without having to get too close to Russian positions. The Ukrainian military also uses NASAMS, the US air defense system, around it to protect the HIMARS missiles. The Russian forces, on the other hand, are almost fleeing to escape the range of HIMARS. Thanks to this, Russian troops were repulsed in many settlements. Another development in the war was that in June, in the city of Kherson, which Russia had captured in the first months of the war, it began to distribute Russian citizenship to Ukrainian citizens. Then, in July, the Ukrainian army, strengthened by support, increased its operations and began to retake many cities. In recent weeks, the war has flared up again, but thanks to the advance in favor of Ukraine, Russia has begun to lose the territories it captured one by one. The governor of Kherson, Dmytro Butry, mentioned in his statement that the successful operations of the armed forces of Ukraine began to increase day by day. He said that in the last week, 9 more settlements have been liberated from the Russian occupation. In total, more than 50 settlements were freed from the Russian occupation, and citizens in the region again began to live under the rule of the Ukrainian army and more safely. Residents of the region, which has been under Russian occupation for months and exposed to Russian soldiers, expressed that they were very happy to see Ukrainian soldiers as a result of Ukraine's recapture of the region. But not every region is in this situation, unfortunately, as a result of the brutal attacks and looting of Russian soldiers in many towns and villages. Many cities have been almost completely devastated. In this regard, the Ukrainian government said that they have requested a loan from the World Bank and will begin to build structures in the recaptured areas as quickly as possible so that they can resume their old lives again. Russian troops have destroyed many areas, and the infrastructure of electricity systems, water and gas systems will be re-established in the cities. The Ukrainian government is doing a great job in rebuilding Ukraine, and it expects its people to support it, and especially large countries, the European Union, NATO, the United States and the World Bank to support it in rebuilding Ukraine. The Ukrainian government also stated that they are very grateful to the citizens of Ukraine. They are happy that they have stood by their country and defended them even in these difficult days. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry said that Ukrainian soldiers working with demining teams from the United States have detected and later defused about 200,000 explosives since February, when the invasion began. The Defense Ministry said in a statement that a fifth of the territory of Ukraine is contaminated with mines. So far, minesweeping of 70,000 hectares of land has been carried out. Between 5,001,000 hectares of land are scanned daily and more than 1,000 mines are decommissioned every day. At the conference, which was attended by 26 countries in Copenhagen, the capital of Denmark, and hosted by Ukraine, Denmark and the United Kingdom, it was announced that support will be made for $1.6 billion in military aid from the participating countries. 6 months have passed since the attack launched by Russia. The defense ministers of many countries came together at a conference in Denmark to decry this attack and support Ukraine. It was announced that this support package will include many military equipment, weapons systems, multiple rocket launchers, missile systems and monetary support in cash. The officials of the 26 European countries participating in the conference announced that they will increase their assistance to Ukraine in order to increase its military strength and defense power against Russia. Last Tuesday, Ukrainian troops had carried out a military operation in Crimea. The Ukrainian army announced that they had destroyed a Russian air base, ammunition depots, and at least 7 aircraft in their operation with Bayraktar TB2s. The Russian media claimed that this news was not true, and that their ammunition and aircraft were not damaged. However, the U.S. intelligence company released satellite images. Satellite images showed the extent of the destruction at Russia's air base in Crimea. The Russian army had suffered a heavy defeat in the Crimea. There were 7 aircraft that satellite images showed were damaged and smoke was coming out. Large hollows and pits have formed on the island as a result of eruptions. After the U.S. intelligence company denied Russia's allegations, there has not yet been a new statement from the Russian media. Last night, the Russian military carried out airstrikes on Dnipropetrovsk and carried out shelling of residential areas. It was announced that 15 people lost their lives and 8 people were injured in the airstrike. It is believed that Russia organized this attack in response to the Ukrainian operation in Crimea. It is becoming a matter of curiosity when Russia will give up this war. Despite Russia's increasing failures, Putin still does not give up his desire to seize Ukraine. The attack in the Dnipropetrovsk region appears to have damaged many buildings in the region. When this war is over, it is planned to complain to the National Court of Russia in order to financially cover the damage that took place in Ukraine and receive compensation from Russia for the reconstruction of Ukraine. Because this has ceased to be a normal war, and Russia is only trying to harm people and intimidate Ukrainian President Zelensky out of the war to make him surrender the country, but what he expects will not happen. The Ukrainian army and the Ukrainian people, who have survived the most difficult days, will never give up their resistance and will continue to defend their country until the end.